Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Breakfast and Convos. I am Liberty White, video marketing specialist.
And I am Adeola, digital marketing expert who sits at the intersection of digital media marketing and how it's transforming business and life.
This was a busy week. T, hasn't it? Hasn't it been? We've been doing some tech stuff
Indeed.
behind the scenes, some parenting. I wonder if James is on. We need to bring James on one of these shows.
Yeah, we do. Like James, the struggle is real, James, and you are needed. Yeah.
And for those of you who this is your first time watching us, this is Breakfast and Convos. We come to you each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:15 a.m. and we talk about all things marketing, tech, and business. And really it like the show says, it's about a conversation and we are very interactive. So if you see my head tilting at any point just like now, it is because we're broadcasting live on LinkedIn and then also simulcasting on Facebook and a number of pages in YouTube. So go ahead and leave your comments. Say good morning. If you're watching the replay, let us know that you are a replay viewer. And T, can I tell you, so I said to you that I'll be going through some updates today. And one of the updates that I am most excited about is that in our show, we can put comments from LinkedIn.
Woo! Look at that. We done came a long way. I'm
Right?
feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Did you feel like the giddiness of when
Yes.
I saw that update come through? Because we have an active audience on Facebook, and then because our primary platform is LinkedIn, and we're always maybe they heard us because remember the last show I said, hey,
Mhm.
LinkedIn, can we get comments in real time so that we
Hey,
can
mover and shaker, baby. You are a mover and shaker. You ask, they listen. I
and,
dig it.
and
See,
it, they,
this is why I mess with Liberty right here because she gets stuff done. Because the production quality is no small thing. So, like, if you get a winner like Liberty, that's your ticket.
Man, so thank you so much, T. And I appreciate your support through all of this because for those of you, so we are now this is episode 10,
Nine,
no, 9.
no,
So we're
10,
almost,
nine, nine. Yeah.
almost at number 10. So we're getting close there. And it really was, I said, like, T, listen, you want to co-host the show with me? Because I think you could do the thing and you have been doing the
Right.
thing. So I appreciate you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Just I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. I don't know how to fly a drone. I don't know how to do that because that's for those of you who don't know, like drones cost money. Like it's not like a RC like thing that you get from Toys R Us. Well, Toys R Us is gone, but
Right.
you know what I mean. Like that's an investment, and those things blow into trees, and folks be shooting at them. And it takes a certain amount of constitution to have the nerd. That's entirely too much money to be floating in the air. So that's it's cool.
You know what? It's so funny that you say that because that was one of the things when I decided to get my license. And I thought to myself, like, which one am I going to get? Because as marketers and we research a lot. So just going through comments and threads of the number of people that crash their jobs, I was like, I am not going to go for the Inspire, the big one. Let's start small. So if something happens, I'm good to go. And at least I had enough room to it would be good quality footage and photos, but then also I won't be crying tears that my $1,500, $2,500 drone dropped out of the sky.
Man, listen, I told you like that it was the time before last, or maybe the last one. I watched this YouTube channel called Flight Test,
Okay.
and they fly drones and they build like model, RC racers or whatever, and they have behind the scenes footage too.
Okay.
And there are times when they'll like test how far a drone can go out, and it'll go offline and like because it's out of range or whatnot. So there's this momentary panic of, oh crap, where's the drone? Like is it showing up on the radar? Like
Right.
what happened to it? And of course, it always comes back because they have this homing feature where if it gets low on battery, whatever, it'll
Yeah.
return to where it takes off. But there's always that momentary manic moment of panic. It's like, oh my god. Like,
That
where
panic
did
is
it go?
very, very real. That panic is so real because so proudly, and maybe that was my downfall. So I've had my license for almost 2 years now. And in a year, I had it crashed. I was like, what? Popping collars and everything. And then it happened. And
Oh
it was
no.
very dramatic. Like it was at an event in front of folks. Thankfully, it was like reception
Oh,
time, so there's only a handful of people out there. But
oh
one of these
no.
shows, I'll go deeper into that on one of these episodes.
Happens to everybody. It's like what they say in getting business, right? Like you haven't been in business till you got sued, right? It happens to
Is that what they
everybody at
say?
some point. And yeah, that's what I've been told by my entrepreneurs in residence. Like it's an unfortunate reality, but I'm glad you got your badge and got your check mark. So
That's it.
kudos to you.
On my belt right there. Let's hope that's the only one. And speaking of updates, so I just shared, so we'll go. So if you are any folks on LinkedIn, I see some folks on Facebook. So good morning, everyone. That go ahead, and we have a phenomenal guest later in the show. So in a few moments, we'll bring her on. So get your questions ready. And there have been more updates. So we shared a lot of social media news and tech updates on Tuesday. And one of the ones that I also want to let you know, if you're watching, if you are an Instagrammer and you go live on Instagram, you have the ability, once you go live, once you end your broadcast, before you would just get the option to download and then share to your timeline. And it's only 24 hours for your live stream broadcast. But now you can push it directly to Instagram TV. We need to add some sound effects because that was a moment. That's my producer head that, hey,
Boom, 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 boom. The,
good
like the
morning.
horn 2 times.
Right.
Say hi. Yeah, you hear him? He's saying boom, boom.
Thank you. So
Okay. They
there is my sound effect right there. And good morning, Nicole. I see you on Twitter watching us. Good morning. Good morning. So yes, you are now able that if you go live on Instagram Live, you can push it to IGTV. The significance, because you always know that's what I got to do. We always explain why the news that we share matters. This matters because we've been talking about who can compete with who and different platforms having features. Now, when IGTV came out, people thought, oh, are they going to compete with YouTube? That's a flat out no. The YouTube has been
no.
in the game way too long for them to be able to do that. Plus, YouTube has a monetization strategy. So a lot of the influencers that Instagram pulled in to get excited about IGTV in the beginning, you would see that they would post a video on IGTV like once, and then it'd be crickets because they understand their community of engagement that primarily happens on YouTube. So
Right.
Instagram TV, IGTV has made a lot of updates since then. Still not comparable to YouTube, but the fact that you can go live and not have to do extra stuff, because in the past we would have to download, edit, and then push that up to IGTV. So the fact that it's just a one click and a seamless integration, it's going to be interesting to see if people begin to populate their IGTV channels much more.
That's definitely the push from a strategic standpoint because in the context of COVID-19, we're seeing that a lot of companies have had their strategies accelerated,
Yeah,
right? So, and this is especially when you're talking about video, because especially in the marketing space, conferences are where a lot of business and networking takes place, and all of those things, not all of them, but most of them that haven't just gotten flat out canceled, have moved online. And so
right.
the ability to stream and have video conferencing and have video shared easily is essential. And I think that at some point in the future, IG was going to do this anyway. It just got moved up. Like, for example, Disney Plus, like Disney is dumping their entire catalog on Disney Plus. Like even Hamilton, like Broadway plays on Disney Plus. Like Disney was going to do that at some point, but it's
Right.
like now that this is a moment in time, right? COVID-19 has created a moment in time. So Disney Plus, they just put Hamilton, Broadway, everything on there because they are trying to. I mean, Disney Plus is the quickest streaming platform, I think, to 50 million. That's
Yeah.
not a small thing.
Right.
And COVID-19 had a lot to do with that. So it makes sense strategically that they would strike while the iron's hot and get that in there. Good morning. Good morning to you. Hello, we see you, Pure Victory 70. Pure, hey, I dig it.
Right.
Triumphant. First thing in
All
the
the
morning.
way
Good
from
morning.
Canada. Nicole is watching us. So thank you, Nicole. And great show last night. I'm going to send you a message with feedback, all like excited about what you're doing. So it, like you said, to people, not only companies accelerating what they do from a content and strategy standpoint, but even people now realizing that, wait a second, that podcast that I wanted to do, like the time is now. I have a captive audience. So
Yep.
really interesting stuff. And I know you've got some interesting stuff that you want to share with us this morning.
Absolutely. So, like influencer marketing, which is always been a very interesting space in the digital marketing ecosystem. It's taken a big hit right now because, like, and it makes sense, right? Because a lot of campaigns have been paused or just, flat out aren't running right now. So, a lot of influencer marketing marketers have seen their incomes dry up by about 80 to 90%. And that's the ones who are still making it. Some of them just flat out are gone. And it
Right.
makes sense, right? Because if you're a travel influencer and folks aren't traveling right now, and you don't want to appear tone deaf either. So
Right.
it's just been a very, very difficult slog for influencers. And CMOs and marketing leaders are reevaluating the approach that they take with influencers right now. And because they're reevaluating everything, because like I said, this is a moment of time where you really have to take stock in everything. And if you could switch to the other link from eMarketer, there's a chart on there that breaks down how the influencer marketing sphere is sort of breaking down. Yeah, scroll down just a little bit more.
There we
Yeah,
go.
this chart right here. Yeah. And it goes into like, look, this is how, folks are starting to reevaluate their budgets and stop it. And it's just been very, very interesting because there's been some very notable snafus. As there always is, like influencer marketing is the best for train wrecks. I know I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. Everybody watches influencer marketing for train wrecks because the thing about influencer marketing is that it's supposed to be authentic. It's supposed to
Right.
be real. These aren't celebrities. These are folks who have garnered a following. And so there's been a lot of like there was this one not mommy blogger, but I forget the lady's name. She when the state shelter in place orders first came out,
Okay.
she took her family out and like went on a vacation and like just blatantly disobeyed the orders and got a lot of pushback
Yeah.
from that. And then you have one influencer who was like, hey, um just um was like, "Hey, hold on, Liberty. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah.
I need to stop for a minute.
Oh yeah.
This
No
is
worries.
a daddy moment, but I got a
There we go.
crying
And that
child in the back, so
that
I
is
will
okay.
let you switch over to our interview of a little bit early. I sincerely apologize. I gotta go check on this boy right quick. So
That is
sorry about that.
a-okay. That is a-okay. What a great segue to bring in our guest for the day, which is Abi Olukeye. Abi, thank you so
Hello.
much for
Hello.
joining us today.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good as well. Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Oh, very much so myself. And now, for those of you who are just joining us, this is Breakfast and Convos, and we come to you each and every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:15 a.m. And we, in addition to bringing you news and insights on marketing, business, and technology trends, we also interview those that are making it happen in front of and behind the scenes. And this morning, joining us is Abi Olukeye with Smart Girl HQ. So, Abi, I'm just going to dive into this conversation because I'm excited to have you on. Because as a woman in tech, I got my start in the web development side of things, and then have moved on into video marketing and live streaming. That early on, I was managing a team of 10, and there was myself and
Yeah.
one other woman
Yeah.
on the team. Those numbers have changed slightly, but we still see, like we shared during, if you're reading our post, that, there's a third of young girls who are young women who are choosing math and engineering when they go into high school. And that's disproportionate to the need for tech right now. Like COVID-19, we're seeing the need for innovation in tech. So talk to us about your journey. Like, how did you get into tech?
So my journey to tech was sort of unusual, but usual to some extent, right? So I didn't grow up in the United States. My family is originally from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, I was in Nigeria until about high school. So a lot of my formative years were in another country where STEM was actually very much encouraged. And so in that environment, I didn't feel like STEM was a boy thing or a girl thing. That just didn't exist. It was compete. That was the message. It was like, go out there and be the best, whatever it
Right.
is. And particularly STEM was promoted because it was looked at as a way for upward mobility.
Okay.
But so when I moved here, that's where the conflict started, because my advisor in high school called me aside when I started getting interested in computer science and said, girls don't really do this stuff. And I'm like, huh? It's so confusing, because I'm like,
Right.
it doesn't even make sense that you would say that. And so I started exploring it on my own. I took college classes while I was in high school to just kind of see if I liked it. And my very first coding course was Visual Basic. I don't know how
Okay.
familiar you are with that one, but
Ooh, yes.
I know,
Yes.
girl, long time ago. But Visual Basic is visual, and I loved it. And I thought,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're teaching girls coding the way they would like, and maybe
Mhm.
that's why. And so for me, my journey was kind of being aware of what I was up against, allowed me to go to college, be the only one of two Black girls in my computer science program at Virginia Tech at the time. There were, I don't remember how many other girls there were, but there were very few of us. But I do distinctly remember one other Black girl because we were friends. And being in that program, it didn't bother me to be the only, because
Mhm.
I was aware, thanks to my advisor, even though she was telling it to me to kind of discourage me, it helped
Right.
me know I wasn't shocked when I got there. And so when I left college, my mindset was, hey, I think technology is going to be more important than just the building of things. I just felt like it was going to help transform the way we do business. And I wanted to be on the business side, but I
Right.
wanted to deeply understand technology.
What was was there something that ignited that moment where you said, you know what, tech is going to be more, or was it just this feeling you had and you just ran with it?
It was a combination of like perceiving what was already being done. So I'm trying to cast my mind back to, this was high school, college. I was graduating college in 2005.
Okay.
So we had just gone through Y2K.
Woo! Yeah, you went all the way back.
So there was a clear moment, right? You had all the tech startups that
Right.
had problems around Y2K. So there was a clear moment of awareness around one, technology and internet startups. That was a big thing, and how important it was. And I think in my mind, I was starting to put the pieces together and saying, you know what, this is going to be the way that companies are going to differentiate each other in the future. And
Right.
when I was thinking about the kind of role I would want to be in, I knew that I didn't want to be behind the scenes just getting told what to build. I
Right.
really want to be part of the process of understanding what should we build next and what is the right fit technology. So it was
Mhm.
important to me, even though I knew I wanted to be on the business side, to get a deeper understanding on the technology side first, because I felt like the most important roles would be the people that could match tools to the job. Um,
Ooh.
and I felt like, you know what, I don't want in the future to be in a meeting and someone's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I just was like, I want to really understand this. And for me, coming from where I came from, I was fortunate enough. My high school was a private school, so we had a little bit more resources in that school. But even that little bit more resources was us having a small computer lab that we would go to and do computer science for 1 hour once a week. And so even that, right, there were no personal computers. Now it's a whole different thing. But so for me, technology was the thing I was least familiar with, which became the thing I was most interested in learning about. And so I graduated. I did get a job that allowed me to do what I really wanted, which was a leadership program. So it allowed me to come into a company, focus on technology, but looking more on the business side and how technology could apply that. And so that was great. But immediately I'm like, wait, where are the girls? Where are the other girls here? And I noticed that I actually went to work in a manufacturing company, which, if you don't know, that entire industry is about 80-20 in terms of male and female. So very much, male dominated industry. And even I was on the business side and I was in tech, a lot of the same things that you would find now still occurring. After a while, I actually forgot that I was the only girl. That's the funny thing. I was in that career for 13 years and I got so used to it. I would be in a meeting. I remember one meeting. It was a week-long meeting with a lot of distributors. There were probably 30 men. And it took me till Friday to be like, oh, wait, there's no other girl here.
Right. But the beautiful thing is that you, in that, and I want to get to that moment where Smart Girls HQ launched, because eventually it's like, wait a second, like you said, you have that epiphany and that you have poured so much in that you understand the opportunities that are in tech. And you sit in a very interesting space of not just being able the tech side, but the business side as well. Because there are those stats out there that say that we're more consumers than we are producers. And now is that opportunity for the producers to come up with solutions. And there's something that you said that I saw on your profile too, that customer focused solution. So I want to talk to us about that moment where you said,
So that's a great segue, because it was in one of those meetings that I had an epiphany, because I was sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, there are all men here in all these meetings and we're making such important discussions. We're deciding so much about how this company is going to function and what customers get. And I wonder how many more boardrooms look like this, and there are no women. How is that even okay that we're building solutions, we're making final decisions on very important things, and there's no, that thought leadership is not diverse, and what does that mean for the kinds of solutions we build? And about the same time, I started having children, and I have two girls. They're 5 and 8 now, but about when they were 3, they would both start to, like, literally clockwork. 3 years old, they come in and they start saying things like, oh, I don't like that, that's a boy thing and that's a girl thing. And I'm like, where are you getting that from? Because I know it's not in this house, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so clearly there are a lot of headwinds out there. I, as a parent, need to focus on exposing them more. And so being a busy professional and trying to do that in the evenings and research and find stuff, that was where the moment came for Smart Girls HQ, because I realized it wasn't easy. My thought process at that time was, oh, I'm just going to Google some stuff. We'll go to things, we'll buy things. And, and I started to do that. And I realized, wait, this is like so confusing. And I'm in STEM. So if this was a parent that was not in STEM, how would they ever figure this? I mean, I was searching to the back of the internet for stuff that might be interesting to them. And it just took too much time. And that was the moment. That was the moment I started researching more about STEM and girls. And the biggest, the first grounding statistic is that you have women participating in the workforce at an even rate, so about 49%. But when it comes to STEM in general, you have them participating at 28%, so huge drop. And then when you get to computer science, even lower, double digits in the low teens is where you have computer science women participating. And so when those numbers started to come together, the next question became, but why? Why is this happening, right? And when you go further down the pipeline, you realize that for boys and girls, their learning experience is very different. Girls get to about age 12, trying to be grown. Boys don't really have the same experience, but for girls, they start to lean into what they like. And it's not even so much a conscious choice, but they just decide, oh, I like this. I'm going to start exploring further this thing. That choice is usually never STEM. They lean away from STEM because they haven't had enough tangible experiences to connect with it enough to say, hey, this is something I really like. And so that research started to form the base of what our solution might be. And so with Smart Girls HQ, our goal is to do two things. One is to support parents, because we realize, as a parent myself, that audience is underserved. People think that you're supposed to just know what to do in order to support your child and help them explore STEM in an engaging way. That's not true. It's a very abstract subject area. And so unless you understand how to interpret really difficult things, it might be really hard for you to facilitate. And that's absolutely okay.
Say that one more time, not to cut you off and stop you. But say that one more time, because it is such a murky thing.
STEM is very abstract. These subjects cover very, very abstract concepts that have to be pulled together to make sense. So unless you already know how to interpret abstract and difficult concepts, it might be really hard for you to help facilitate the learning. And because it's hard for you to facilitate the learning, you sort of gradually maybe push it away. You might not be saying, oh, don't do STEM, but if your child said, let's build this catapult, you're like, you want me to help you with that? You start to give signals that, why don't we do this instead? Because you're nervous about your ability to really help. You don't want to look like you don't know what you're saying, right? So those things add to the biases that pull girls away from STEM. And so for us, our job is to take all that away for parents. We want to make it easy for parents to facilitate STEM in an engaging way. We want to create content that girls actually like. I love, you guys were talking about drones earlier, and I was laughing because I was in a group of kids a while ago, and some of them, there was boys and girls, and they were all in 8th grade. And I asked them, if I put a drone on the table, who would be really excited? And the boys all threw their hands up, and they're like, of course, it's a drone. Right. And none of the girls raised up their hands. And I'm like, why? Well, I asked the boys first, why are you excited about drones? And their answer to me was, because it's a drone. And then I asked the girl,
they can crash it and they don't got to worry about paying for it.
I asked the girls, why are you not excited about drones? And they said, because it's a drone. Because for them, it's like, it's a drone. What is there to be excited about? And that tells you everything you need to know about how boys and girls learn. So what I did next was I started telling them a story about a company that uses drones to wash windows. So every year, lots of people die falling off skyscrapers trying to wash windows. And so this company has created drones that dispense cleaning liquid and spray it down and automate the whole process so that people don't have to die while they're washing windows. Immediately the girls light up, right? Because now you're talking about application. Why should I care about a drone? And now that you've given me an interesting reason to care about a drone, okay, now tell me about drones. Right. That's the difference between boys and girls, is that girls really need, at a much earlier age than boys, really need that application knowledge. They need to understand, why does this matter? And what does it do in the world? Okay, fine. There's a Microsoft study that says that women like hard things. They can do hard things. So it's never about whether, STEM is too hard for girls versus boys. No, it's like, I can commit to a hard thing if I care. about what it is. And so our content, the content that we create, is designed especially for girls to learn in a way that is application first. And then we produce a media product at Raising Smart Girls for parents to help facilitate those learning modules in a way that is not intimidating and that really feels like a partnership between us and them.
I love that. I love that you guys start with why, the application of why first, because that cannot be overstated. So talk to me a little bit about your journey from the business side, because something we talked about on the show previously is that the funding stats for women, specifically Black women, are shameful. They're just shameful. Like the stats coming out of Y Combinator, I think Y Combinator only funds like 0.02% of Black women founders, and it's asinine. And for those who don't know, Y Combinator is it's a fund out of Silicon Valley where a lot of the big tech giants that you've heard of, Airbnb, Uber, blah blah blah, those all came out of Y Combinator. And they have large endowments, a lot of money, but very, very few of those dollars circulate to people like yourself. So talk a little bit about, as a founder, how you found that capital and how you continued to, still be able to move in those spaces despite the challenges that you face.
That's a really good question. So for me, when I was starting to think about launching out to do this, there were two things I knew. I knew that I knew that if my goal was to go out there and fundraise first, like probably other my peer startup founders would do, I might not be immediately successful. I mean, the odds of me going out and spending all my time fundraising and actually getting the funds that I needed seemed so low that I felt like I needed to come up with a strategy that I thought gave me a little bit more success rate. So one, I prepared to bootstrap it myself for a while, because there are two things, right? Fundraising there are two things that make you successful at fundraising. One is relationships, right? You're going to give money to people that you like and because money is a funny thing like that. So if you're going to write me a check for $1 million, something about me is interesting to you, or we have some relationship that makes you feel like you can trust me. The second thing is people are least likely to be worried about giving you money if you have results. So there has those two things, as much of those two things as you can get, the relationship and the familiarity with who you're asking money from, as well as the numbers that don't lie. Those are the things that really help you go a long way with fundraising. And for me, starting in the beginning, while a white male can go write an idea on the back of a napkin and get funding, I knew I wouldn't
literally do that. It's crazy. Literally, because for those who not to cut you off, for those who don't know, when Instagram got acquired by Facebook for $1 billion, they had like less than 100 users. They had some students. They had a small, it wasn't big. They had, to your point, they had the proof of concept, but the scale wasn't there. They literally just said, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what it looks like, and got $1 billion.
Yeah, no, actually Instagram, I think, was further along when they got acquired, but what you're talking about is when they actually got their first seed funding, which was they got about almost $500,000, I think, about that, somewhere 500 and under. But they had nothing. They actually just had they switched the idea to Instagram later. They didn't even
thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for correct. But still,
users, doing
$500,000 for a concept?
Yes,
we can't get $5,000.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's wild.
Exactly. So I already knew all that. So, and I don't like to waste my time. So my thought was, girl, with you. I'm like, let's get some numbers. I know even with the numbers, they might not really care, right? It just depends on if they like you. Let's get some numbers. Let's find some avenues that are not crowded, right? So for me, my fundraising has gone a couple of different paths. I've been prepared to bootstrap, right? Because I knew that that was going to be a possibility. So I just made sure I was ready to do that. And then the best, you've heard this before, the best way to fundraise is to get revenue. Revenue is your best fundraise, and get it from your customers.
Right.
And so we've been, like Liberty mentioned, we've been very customer focused from day one. That was my world before I did this, was really understanding what customers wanted. And so we had been monetizing our work through sponsorships and advertising from the very beginning. And that's helped a little bit. And then I went after non-dilutive funding. So non-dilutive funding is funding that you can apply for or get as a for-profit business, but it acts like a grant, right? So they're not actually asking for equity back in that. So, for example, in the last month, we've gotten about $12,000 in non-dilutive funding, and we keep going up for more and more of that kind of funding, because we are a social enterprise, right? So I'm not a nonprofit. Very adamant about that structure, because I believe that we can do good without it necessarily not having commercial success. So I really wanted to do those two things together. And so as a social enterprise, there are several funds that you can look at that might not ask for equity, or they might ask for equity but have a long-term return rate, right? So usually when you go to a VC, right, a VC is looking for 5 years. And they're looking for X amount of return on their money. And so unless you think your business is at the level that you're going to grow to that rate, like people, it's attractive to go raise funds, but honestly, it's debt on day one.
Exactly.
You need to figure out how to multiply this money by X, right? You might not get it. They might not ask for it back, but your business is done if you don't get those results. So for us, I didn't think that we were right for VCs, because one, I would need someone that has a 10-year vision, not a 5-year vision. Second thing is, a VC, depending on the business, your business could make $100 million and still not be good enough, right? How many of us would be
that one more time? You are dropping so many gems. So many gems.
Because it just doesn't meet the rate of return that they're looking for. And it's so important to match your business with the funding source. And so for us, traditional VC isn't right now for the beginning, but I think it would be for like a Series B when we're further along and we're ready to scale, when we're looking for money to light fire. Like, we've done all the work to match our product to our audience. We know what we're doing. We know who we're talking to. That's all done. We're making steady revenue. Now we're ready to scale at a really fast rate. Okay, VC. And guess what? At that time, I can set my terms. I can tell you exactly how much I want and how much I'm trying to give up. Because I don't have to do this deal with you, right? You want in on this. There's already results. That for us is when we think VC money is right. But in the meantime, the SPIR.
That's what they say, that it's the power of being able to walk away, like that you don't know. When it comes to negotiations, you have to be able to. Can I walk away? Like, as appealing as that might be, that's who really holds the power. And I love that is where you are thinking, where Smart Girl HQ is headed. And I want to just make sure too, I've been popping up some of the comments just coming in where, James, thank you so much for chiming in and sharing that, he's raised 300,000 on an MVP. That is huge, a huge accomplishment, especially when we see just James, that there's a million, the number of women, Black women who are able to raise over $1 million. That is less than, and I don't want to quote it and get it incorrectly, but it's a very low percentage rate.
Yeah.
Under 5%, I want to say.
Under one.
I was going to say 1, and I was like, which is that the right stat? So yes, under 1%. So James, kudos to you for that 300K. And he's also been through an accelerator program. So for you, Abi, life has been your accelerator program.
Yeah, life has been my accelerator program. I have been through a few. Again, there are different kinds of accelerators, so you got to know what your business needs. I'm in one right now that is a mentor. I have a board of advisors as part of
Okay.
this accelerator. So I get to work with these four wonderful professionals that and I don't have to give up any equity to do so. Every month we set goals. They give me they give me advice on what decisions I'm having the biggest challenge with, and
Okay.
the board of directors is set up based on your needs. So if you really wanted a marketing executive, you would get a marketing person on there.
Okay.
If your challenges were around operations, you would get an operations person on there. So that's excellent for what we're doing right now, because we really wanted to be able to tap into the expertise of people that have been there before. So that's one accelerator we've done. We've done another one that's a customer discovery one. We had to get 30 customer interviews. And that helped in the very beginning narrow down what we're building, how we're building it. Later this year, we got granted $50,000 with the National Science Foundation to do their accelerator that allows you to do more customer discovery. So there are, I'm always about the path that's less trodden, right? Like, where is everybody not looking, right? Because why are we all, going down the same road where there are many, 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 many opportunities? So I'm always looking out for those less spoken about opportunities, less crowded spaces, because I'm still in build mode, right? So by the time that I'm done building to a point where I feel like I'm ready to jump in those arenas that are crowded, I want to be ready to stand out. I don't want to be shouting over there. I don't want to be, shaking a little bonbon where people have loudspeakers, because you're wasting your time, right? So I'm going to go build my loudspeaker so that I can join that game, when it's ready. So I always tell people there is a way, right? Look somewhere else. If this is not where you're ready for, put a bookmark on it. Look somewhere else, come back, go get stronger, come back. And you'll be ready to compete much better.
And I love that part of,
I love that.
yeah, that part of
Yes,
getting
thank
stronger
you.
and then coming back, because then you have, oftentimes when people are told, go after your passion, and that is very true. But then there's also the part of, okay, what can you do while chasing your passion that will maybe fund your passion, so you're not struggling, or as you say, you're not tooting a horn when everybody else has a loudspeaker. Phenomenal. Abby,
So thank you so much for coming on. You've done me proud. That's my cousin, y'all, for those who didn't know, because life kind of took over and it's taking over right now. So I have to leave and, change diapers and feed the child and all that good stuff. But thank you for coming on and sharing that and representing. Yes, yes. All right. I gotta sign off, but thank you for that. That was amazing. We'll talk more later, and congratulations, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everyone. This was
awesome.
Great conversation.
Well, thank you so much, OKT. And we've just wrapped up speaking with Abi Olukeye with Smart Girl HQ. And we will have her information in our show notes. And if you are just watching and tuning in right now, I just want to say you need to go back and watch the whole show, of course, is what I would want you to do. But most importantly, watch this interview with Abi, because what she was able to do was break down her transition from the corporate world and seeing a need as a woman in tech, and that the rooms that she was in, she was the only one, and seeing a problem. They always say that the best businesses are the businesses that solve a problem. So Smart Girl HQ is solving the problem by making tech accessible, tech education accessible to young girls, because that's the point of them just nurturing their minds and their curiosity. Because when it comes to tech, when it comes to STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, it is about solving problems, asking questions, looking at things differently. So, Abi Olukeye, I am so happy that we had you on the show. And of course, we have to make sure, too, that we bring in this week that we always talk about jobs, and that is the last part here. There are a couple of jobs out here that I want to make sure that I share with you. Higher Profile is hiring. Let's bring that in for you guys. There we go. Yes, they're hiring for a digital marketing manager. So if that's a space that you're in and you're looking for opportunities there, I would say jump on that. And I need to move this box, get this chat box out of the way. Yep. So they're hiring. And there's one more. There we go. Head of digital marketing, digital media at Brown Bag Marketing. So we'll put those links in the show notes for you so that you can take a look at those jobs and those opportunities to see if those match and fit your criteria and what you're looking for. Because so on Tuesdays, we're just dumping all the tips and news on you. And then on Thursdays, we want to make sure that not only do we have professionals that can help to speak to your industry and your space, but that we share some of the jobs for those of you who are watching that are in the media, tech, marketing space. We are here for you. And this is why we come live, Breakfast and Combos. You get some conversations, you get some insights, and it's all about empowering our community. So I am going to sign off now, and we look forward to watching for you joining us next week, Tuesday at 7:15 a.m. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will catch you next time.